Welcome to the Clear Computing webinar on going paperless. And we're going to show that you can save 15 to 25% of your cost of doing business by going to paperless operations. We're going to cover in this brief seminar costing at standard. Is paperless fad or a real change? We're going to cover 3 examples of paperless: printing invoices, processing receivables, and faster communication with drivers, and then briefly go over some things you can do to move your company in a paperless direction. In order to calculate the cost of business, we're going to take a sample company that consists of an owner, an order taker or an office manager, 2 drivers, 5 vehicles, and about $500,000 worth of equipment. If you take that and break it up into a pyramid, where level 1 is your electricity, water, and taxes and rent, and then level 2, these are added costs on top of that: accounting, furniture, flooring. Level 3 is we bring in our first operational people, which is the order taker and the owner acting as a yardman and a dispatch. The next piece up is the dispatcher along with the trucks, and then the drivers, which is at the height of the pyramid. So you can see as you go up the pyramid, your total cost finally equals your total expenses and expenditures in your bottom of your QuickBooks. If you take those numbers, you can divide them by the number of people in the company, and you get $193,000 a person. The number of trucks, it's $258,000 a year, has to be generated in sales to pay for the expenses associated with the company. If we take a miles perspective, it's $2.58 a mile. If we look at the 5 people in the company and do an hourly basis, gives you an hourly rate of 77.5. And the last, and the one that we'll continue with in the presentation, is if we look at the 3 drivers at 2,000 hours a year, we get $129 an hour, and the order taker is $42.50 an hour. This may require a little change because some people think of just what they pay the individual indirect salary. This is what's called loaded cost at standard. That is to include all the costs, all expenses the company has in terms of a measure of one class of work. So we're looking at, in running your business, a truck driver is 3 times more expensive per hour than an order taker. Is this a fad or a real change? I think if you look, you'll see that UPS drivers do not use paper. McDonald's can send you a small fries for $1, accepts a credit card, and still makes money. Banks charge $5 for a printed statement, and stamps are 50 cents. And the internet, which is considered the marketplace of the future, closes all its sales through email. That is no paper. I think this kind of says that paperless operations is real change, not a fad, and in the next part of this presentation you'll see why. The 3 examples we're going to cover is simple step of printing an invoice, posting a check, and telling a driver what their next job is. If you want to know how much it costs to print an invoice, the price is $8 to $12 per invoice. And if you go to this website, the cost of doing business, they'll go over into some of the details associated with that. And you thought it was just a 50-cent stamp. Let's printing an invoice as the example. You call a customer and say, you owe me money, please send it, and they say, I haven't gotten it, could you please send me copies of my open invoices? If you take the time to print it, fold it, stuff it, stamp it, let's say it takes you 5 minutes. At $42.50 an hour, that's 71 cents per minute times 5 minutes. That means if you work diligently, and it'll cost you $3.55 in order to send out those invoices, open invoices. Actually, it's much more expensive. It takes longer, but we're using this as an example. Okay, at $42.50, that's $3.55. If we email the invoice, it only takes about 30 seconds, and that's 36 cents. So if we can email all of our invoices, okay, our cost reduction is $3.19. Let's assume 30% of that is disposable materials, stamp, envelopes, etc. That's 96 cents an invoice. 600 invoices a month times 96 cents times 12 months is almost $7,000 a year in savings of just the direct materials, not the labor and time and productivity. This video will give you an example of how emailing an invoice can improve in collections.
It's 10 a.m. Do you know where your money is?
Hello?
Bob, this is Acme Services. We haven't received your check, and your account is 60 days past due.
I haven't gotten any invoices from you lately. Must be a problem with the mail. Why don't you just send them out again, and I'll take a look at them when I get them.
Your invoices should be in your email right now. Which credit card would you like to use?
Let's move on to credit card payments. We've now sent the invoice out. The customer has responded. You receive an envelope. We have to open it, remove it, identify that it's the correct information to post it is on the check, bring up a posting system, enter the information, click to save it, stamp the rear of the check, fill out the deposit form, go to the bank, make the deposit. Total time 5 minutes. And if you've ever posted receivables, that's being very generous. It actually takes longer. If we pay that invoice with a credit card, we just click to pay with a credit card. It's done in less than 10 seconds. We save 4 minutes and 55 seconds. And if we do the math again, at 71 cents a minute, we save $3.43 when posting a payment. The third and last example is communicating with the driver. When you call the driver and tell them where the next job is, it takes about 20 minutes. They have to pull over, they have to get on their phone, and then have to record the location and what service has to be done. If that's 6 jobs a day, that's 1.2 hours. If you use email to send that job to the driver, it's 30 seconds per job, or 1.8 minutes for 6 jobs, a significant savings, 1.2 hours versus 1.8 minutes. This video will cover an example. Please enjoy.
It's 11 a.m. Do you know where your drivers are?
Hey, I still can't find that site. The directions I gave you were fine. It should be right there. It's the second left after the church. I don't see any church. You're already late. It's right there at the second left. I'm looking. I knew I should have drawn this guy a map. All right, here's the left. I see it. Joe, can you hear me? Damn cell phone.
How to change to make a paperless transition. First, use email for your company communications. And that's everybody. Drivers, yard people, clerks. So when you need to communicate to them, you don't have to be in front of them. You don't have to be together. You just send the email, and then when they receive it, they can act on it. It's amazing that people will actually email sitting someone next to them in an office because it's easier than speaking to them. Start requiring and use email fax for your customers, and don't forget, once they give you the email, send a confirming email immediately. They should receive it and respond to it just to make sure it's the right email and there are no antivirus software running that would put it in a junk pile. Use smartphones and tablets. These are the new tools of the future. It's projected that these will replace field phones within 2 years and be standard operating procedures. And accept credit cards. There is a fee associated with it, but then you don't have to send the invoices, you don't have to do collections, and you don't have past due. It makes it a big difference. And by the way, is there anything you can buy that you don't pay for in advance today? I think this "I'll send you an invoice for service later" comes out of the tool rental business and really doesn't apply in today's world. Thank you. Clear Computing.